artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. Today is Valentine's Day, so I thought we would do a very popular and fitting Valentine's Day painting. This one is called Rustic Heart. This is one of my most popular paintings from all the different years of workshops of classes that I've taught. It's definitely on the easier side, so I think that's why people like it. I specialize in teaching beginners. This is going to be a really simple painting today with just a few steps. I'm going to use a slightly smaller canvas than my original. I have my paints here laid out for myself as well as my brushes. I have a piece of palette paper that I'm using today on top of my plastic palette. Off the screen I also of course have my water cup and my paper towels as well. If you're wondering what kind of paints and brushes that I use, you can check the description box below for a link to a post that shows you all the different materials that I recommend. There are Amazon affiliate links involved in that, so I do get a small portion from Amazon. Doesn't increase the price, but that way you can see exactly what I use and recommend. So paints especially are very important for beginning artists. You might be having some trouble mixing colors if you're using the wrong paints. So definitely check that out. I have 3 brushes that I'm going to use today. I have a nice wash brush that's a square flat brush. I have this round brush, and I also have a very small brush as well. The brand that I like here is called Simply Simmons, and I'm using Grumbacher paints today. But again, check that link for more information there. So I'm going to take my 3 brushes and I'm going to put them in my water cup. And then I'm going to start with my large brush today, and you do want to get it a little bit wet. And I'm going to start here in the center of my canvas. And I'm going to use, I have phthalo green here on my palette. I have some red for later. I have black and white, and then I just have like a medium brown, kind of a warm medium brown. You can use any kind of brown here, any kind of beige. And let's use our big brush to start. I do have some extra space here in the center as well to give myself some mixing space. So I'm going to start by making my favorite color, which is teal. This gorgeous minty teal green color. I'm going to start right in the center of my canvas, and I'm going to be using what I call crazy brush strokes. So back and forth here, overlapping the brush strokes so that you can create a little bit of texture. And don't go too far out because we do want to have some space for some beige, and then we're also going to do a black edge, sort of a rustic vintage looking edge. And you want to make a little bit of noise here and actually hear that brush hitting the canvas. A little bit of ASMR sort of soothing sound. And you can take some white as well, and without washing your brush, add a little bit of variation. You don't want it to be one solid color, so we're actually trying to avoid that. Okay, and yeah, again, just getting lots of different variations within the tones of that minty teal green. Sort of centering it here, but it's also sort of wonky and natural. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse the green out of my brush and dry it off a little bit, and then we're going to create a light brown beige just with brown and white. Very simple today. Easy painting, and then just going around that blue, and maybe a little bit in some places. You don't really want to blend these colors together. You kind of want them to be like patchy. Patchworks, a little bit like where they meet. But if you spend too much time trying to blend this brown into green, it's gonna get kind of muddy. So the effect is more about like tiling it, layering it on top. Okay, looking good. A little bit more beige. And you want to have this sort of beige and green coming all the way out into your outside edge, almost the entire face of the canvas. creating a frame. This painting is really about the background. So I'm going a million miles an hour, but feel free to slow down and take your time. I find if I really get my brush going, I get some good texture. This is also why I have wrist problems though. So maybe be gentle too. I just paint too much. It is addictive, folks. So watch out. But don't worry, I post new tutorials every Saturday. So if you are just trying it out and you love it, make sure to subscribe because I have lots more planned. Okay, that's looking good. I'm gonna rinse my brush out again. And now we're gonna create a dark gray. So with a little bit of our black and a little bit of white. You don't want to go all the way to black yet. Okay, and then just along the edges, I'm going to take this gray, and you want it to blend a little bit with the beige. And this is not on the actual sides yet, although we are going to address that in this next step. So avoid trying to create a pattern, or you could create a pattern deliberately, but what I think looks better with this painting is sort of natural, random messiness. So you don't want it to be like, you know, having your brush go down all X, 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 X the same way. Kind of, that's why my brush goes so quickly. So I'm going all over the place. Okay. That's kind of giving it that vintagey frame effect that I like. And I'm using some beige as well to sort of help me with that edge to gently blend it in. And that's looking pretty good to me. Don't worry about seeing a little bit of canvas texture. That's why this is rustic, okay? Rustic art. And then rinse your brush again. And now just with actual all the way to black, go ahead and do the sides of the boxed canvas. So actually like these sides. And you can pick it up, move your canvas around. Don't be afraid to get messy. I do recommend also having an apron on. I have one on. It's red. And it's got my name on it. It's for my classes. So I've been teaching acrylic painting for about 10 years. Just moved to a new area, getting started teaching painting classes here. I'm going to be teaching hopefully in the public schools, bringing art to the schools. So I got my little apron with my name tag on it. It's painted on with acrylic. Acrylic actually works as fabric paint. Maybe we'll do a project one day. Okay, and then I've got my outside edges now complete. Let me make sure I'm in the frame still. And then, okay, this is a fun technique. It's sort of like an effect, like you'd be painting a wall or something. I'm gonna use just a little bit of black on my brush. I don't have too much paint on here, and my brush isn't that wet. And really gently, I'm gonna kind of drag across the edges here, and I get that really great sort of vignette edge, like so. Very nice. Isn't this a fun painting to do for or with your Valentine? I know today is actually Valentine's Day, so it's a little bit late, and I'll be posting this tomorrow, which will be the day after, but you know what? It's Valentine's Day weekend, so hopefully you guys still give it a shot. What's also fun too, if you're doing this as a couple painting, is to do a heart and then have the other person do the other half. So one half of a heart and then the other half. Anyway, I'll explain that more when we get to the heart part. Okay, go ahead and take your big brush and put it in your water cup. We're going to be done with him for a while. Okay, now don't touch this inside part with the teal because you want that to be fully dry before we add the red heart. But while that is drying, I'm going to add some of the other arrows around in my composition here. So I'm going to do that with my baby brush, smallest brush. If you are good with brush is a little bit more comfortable, you can use a medium-sized brush for this, the pointy brush, but I'm going to use the baby brush, which is a little bit easier, a little bit more control with the smaller brush. And go ahead and just load up some black on your brush. And I'm going to do like a little arrow right here, and then also some kind of like half arrows, as if this is like there's a bunch of arrows just going through this little composition, and our heart's going to be right here. That's going to be struck with one of Cupid's arrows. So you can do a bunch, or you can just do a few. Try to get it as straight as you can. Whenever I'm trying to do straight lines, I kind of brace my hand on my table. If there's a way to. And then there's going to be just, you know, pointing arrow in the front direction here. And if you curve it like so, it kind of gives it that like arrowhead look, rather than just a boring old triangle. And then in the back here, just a few diagonal brush strokes. I do 3 on each side. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, and then you can repeat that shape or half of that shape, however you'd like, all around the outside edge, but make sure, again, to leave space for that heart in the center, and yeah, make sure to let that dry as well. Don't get crazy and come back at it and feel like you need to add more blue. I see students do that all the time. Don't do that. Let it dry. Okay, and then I'm going to do just like the end of an arrow on this side. These are fun little arrows to do. And then how about just the arrowhead up here? Trying to do a straight line, but it's okay if it's wonky. That's, again, the idea of it being rustic. Okay. Maybe we do have a little bit of tail end there. Looking good. I think I'll do maybe one more right here. Remember what I said in past classes about asymmetry, so I'll mention that again. Said it before, I'll say it again. Having a little bit of asymmetry, to me, in the layout always looks good, and actually going off the edge of the canvas. So I'm not doing it like, again, avoiding a pattern, avoiding putting, you know, 2 on this side and 2 on this side that are at the exact same level and look the same. You guys get the idea. Okay, and then I'm going to have 1 in the center, so that'll be 5, so a nice odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to use now my medium brush. Make sure that blue is dry. My blue is tiny, tiny bit wet still. So you do, you know, don't be afraid to walk away and give it a second to dry, but I'm going to be doing these videos in 1 take. I used to be like doing voiceovers, and I would just paint and then come back later and voice over the steps, which does make it easier for me. It's sort of like playing piano and singing at the same time. If any musicians out there can relate, it's much harder to do them both at the same time than it is to just sing or just play piano. I feel the same way about instructing and painting. But last week I had to take a break because I got tendonitis in my wrist. My wrist is feeling a little bit better, but I've decided to do all of these in 1 take because it's actually not the painting that gets my wrist, it's the editing. So I loved creating complicated edited voiceover videos, but unfortunately it's just not feasible. So I want to continue offering these free classes for you guys every week. But I can't be spending 6 hours. I was literally spending 6 or 8 hours, depending on the painting. If it was like a long painting, if it was like an hour long that I filmed, it would take me like 6 hours to film it down into like a nice 25-minute video. But anyway, I'm just yakking a little bit to let this dry in the in-between because I'm going to be doing these in 1 take. So let me know what you think in the comments section, or join us over in the art club. This is a good time to mention the art club as well. So I created a Facebook group where you can share your art that you've created from one of my classes, or just your own art. And you can find the link to that in the description box below too. And I've made it a public group, so I'm pretty sure everybody can join. And the idea is for it to be fully supportive. So if you are a beginner, or if you are an expert and you just want to share your art and see other people's art and get inspired, make sure and check that out. Okay, have I yacked enough for this to be fully dry? Not really, but I'm tired of talking, so I want to do some more painting. But go ahead and let yours dry. You can pull out a blow dryer too if you'd like. Maybe I'll do that in the future, but I don't think you guys want to hear that noise. So anyway, pause this video as necessary, but for the sake of timeliness, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I have my red on my medium-sized brush, round and pointy brush here. I'm just going to put a heart right in the center. I remember teaching this once, and there was a woman that said she hated hearts. So she painted an apple. And that's cool too. You could just do whatever you want. The apple ended up really cute. She was a teacher. Okay, so if you guys can see how I did that, I did one side, and then the other side I sort of deliberately did smaller at first, because it's easier to make things bigger than it is to make it smaller. Much, much, much easier. So start small and build out, getting that really nice, bright, beautiful red with these paints. I'm very pleased been using these Grumbacher Academy acrylics. I love that. Really, even just one coat covers on top of green, which is across the color wheel. Totally opposite color, and we're getting this beautiful, vibrant red. It's great. Okay, and again, let it be wonky. Let it be a little bit natural. It's rustic. This would be cute as like a mural as well. I'm thinking like, oh, see, now I have like visions of it being a whole wall with a bunch of little hearts. That would be so cute. I want to see what you guys do. Someone paint a mural wall with hearts. Rustic heart mural wall would be so cute. I could see it in like fancy bar bathroom. Anyway, my imagination is crazy. I'm going to grab my baby brush again, and now I'm going to create that arrow through the heart. This is sort of that piece de la resistance. Our heart has been struck by the arrow. Final little touch of the painting here. Actually, there's two little final touches. But first, you just want to do a little dash right in the middle. Pierced through the heart. Try not to touch your hand down onto the painting and mess it up like I often do. Cute, cute, cute. And then trying to make it all straight in one line here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Cute. Okay, I'm trying to decide if I want to add one more arrow, or maybe even 2 more arrows. When in doubt, leave it out. That's my advice. Okay, and then I rinsed my brush, and now the very final little touch here. White, just a little bit of white. And then 2 little kind of curved brush strokes. So you're going to do one swipe and it's going to kind of turn pink, which is good because a little bit of wet on wet blending. But you're probably going to want to rinse your brush after just that one brush stroke, because you want to actually be able to apply the white on and get that same wet on wet effect on both sides along the shape of the heart. Boop. Cute. I like it. Okay. To finish off your painting, make sure and sign it. I feel like with white and this baby brush, it looks really good to sign it in this lower corner. You can do it, of course, however you like. I think I'm going to do mine right here. I usually just do my initials My personal rule of thumb is once I've signed my painting, then it's done, and I can't paint on it any longer. So once you've signed your painting, call it good. I hope you enjoyed the experience. Make sure and put your brush in the water cup. And it's a easy cleanup. Yeah, so let me know what you guys thought of today's painting. Obviously on the simpler side. Let me know if you like these simple ones or if you want to get a little bit intermediate, let's say. Lots of great videos planned for you guys. So please hit the like button if you liked and subscribe. You can also pick yourself up a print or an original Skye Pratt on my Art Pal site, which is Skye Pratt Studios, which again in the description box below. I hope you guys had fun today. All right, I will see you next week, and until then, stay creative.